In this lesson, we're going to be talking about coterminal angles. Before we jump into that, let's just talk about what an angle looks like in the standard position. So when we're in the trig world and we're trying to graph an angle, um, we're always going to start from, we're going to begin on the positive x-axis, positive x-axis. And then if we were going to go in this direction, those are always going to represent our positive angle. And if we're heading in this direction, that's always going to represent our negative angles. Okay, so direction is going to matter on that. And then we have a couple special cases or kind of different names. We don't refer to this very often, but if you see that name, quadrantial, it is just referring to an angle that lands on an axis. So particularly we have 90 degrees, and so an angle would be like that. Or you have 180 degrees. You would go all the way to there. And then this would be 270 degrees. We'd be going to there. So 90 degrees, 180, 270, or 360 if we went all the way back around. But this can continue on and on and on and on. So you could have 90 degrees, 180, 270, 360, on and on and on. So all those would be landing on an axis. All right, so coterminal angles. When we're talking about coterminal angles, we are talking about angles with the same terminal side location. All right, so these are the terminal sides. And so if you were to graph something like, for example, 100 degrees. All right, so visually, we're going to be a little bit past the 90. So there's our 100 degrees, but we could also graph something that would go all the way around and still end in the same spot. So 100 degrees, but this would be 460 degrees because we would have gone 360 and then 100 more degrees. We could go the other direction. So we could take and go this way and still end in the exact same spot, except we could go that direction to get there. So that's negative 260. So the math on this is to do a coterminal angle, all we're doing is we would be adding or subtracting 360. All right, so this one. So let's do an example where it's kind of asking something about that. It says find the angles of least positive measures. So least positive measures that is coterminal with each angle. So if you were to graph 960, we're going to try to avoid all the swirls to it. So you could do a visual, or you could just take 908 and subtract out 360. That would get you a 548. If you subtract out 360 again, that would get you a 188. So 188 degrees would be our coterminal angle, the least positive measurement. Because if we took 360 out again, then we would be into the negative angles. But basically, if you were to have a visual for this, 188 degrees, it's kind of somewhere over there, and 908 would be going, there's 360, there's 720, and then we would go a little bit further to get there. So we cut out two of the swirls if we just do the coterminal angle. So same idea on this one. Since we're in the negative, we want to get into the positive. So visually, we're looking at a negative 75. So we're negative somewhere down here is our real angle, but we would rather go this direction is what we're looking for. So for that math, we're just going to take our negative 75 and we're going to add 360 to it. So the difference between those two is 285. So 285 degrees would be our least positive angle. And that would be us going in that direction. But we'll get to the exact same spot. Negative 800, same idea, except we're just going to have to take and add 360 a couple times to it. So we'll add 360. That'll get us a negative 440. So we're not out of the negatives yet. We'll add another 360. And that gets us to a negative 80. Still not out of the negative, so we'll add another 360. And that'll get us to 280. So 280 degrees is the exact same idea, just not in the negative direction, but it would end in the exact same spot. So we could draw it. 280 is going to be kind of somewhere past the 270 mark. And so that is, if we went negative 800, we would just swirl around a couple times and we would get to the exact same terminal spot. So that was talking about and dealing with some coterminal angles.